Hello and welcome to FinTech Diary. Every week we speak to an industry expert who's part of the FinTech revolution. In the world of FinTechs, which is based on constant evolution and innovation, we question change makers on how they plan ahead and read the future developments in every chapter of the FinTech Diary. In every chapter, we try to get the breadth and depth of every segment related to FinTech. I have with me today Dheeraj Aneja, the Senior VP and Head FinTech and Payments Group, Flipkart. Dheeraj, glad to have you on this show.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Dheeraj. And to begin with, let me ask a very basic question, which will help our viewers to understand what exactly the you know uh, fintech arm of the Flipkart is doing. So, tell us something about give us some current statistics in terms of how the fintech vertical of Flipkart is doing. What exactly uh, your transaction size on a daily basis? How many customers do you have on a daily and monthly basis? What kind of transactions are happening and how the vertical is shaping up.
Sure. Thanks for that, Amol. So, as a fintech arm within the Flipkart ecosystem, we look at a couple of different things. To start off with, we are responsible for managing the payments infrastructure that supports the larger e-commerce platform, and to that extent, one of our key responsibilities as a fintech team is to partner with the banking and the payments ecosystem to deliver a very robust and scalable payments platform. As you can imagine, we process millions of orders a day. It's critical to ensure that they are processed seamlessly and without any inconvenience to the customer. So that's one of the big areas that we focus on. Alongside that, what we have is a consumer finance team. In the consumer finance team, I'll just break it down a little bit further. We have our co-brand card, which is what we do with Axis Bank. So we have the Flipkart Axis co-brand card that we issue. And we have a pay later product, Flipkart Pay Later, wherein we partner with IDFC to issue that. Beyond that, we also focus on value-added services in partnership with insurance companies, OEMs, to provide cover for products that customers purchase on the platform, and that could range from mobile phones to furniture to cyber insurance. So that's the third focus point. And the fourth one is we have a team that also focuses on providing growth capital and working capital to sellers on the platform. So overall, our scope of work kind of ranges all the way from payments, consumer lending split across cards and pay later. We also obviously partner with the larger ecosystem in enabling other financial products that customers are availing directly from banks, and followed by our value-added services business and the seller finance program. In general, the way to think about fintech within the Flipkart ecosystem is, Flipkart is a very large e-commerce platform. And when it comes to fintech, we believe that by partnering with NBFCs, payment networks, banks, and including other fintechs as well, we are able to deliver innovation both on the side of commerce and financial services. Our belief is that Bharat shops on Flipkart. So when you design fintech in and around our own ecosystem, you are designing a fintech for Bharat. And that's the thought process with which we lead across all our business units.
Right. Thanks for that overview, Dheeraj. But let me, ask you something about your business. So, how big is your payment business compared to consumer finance? Or if I put it in this way, which one is the largest business for you? Consumer finance, pay later, or the payment?
See, the scale of different businesses is absolutely different. Obviously, the payments business, because it's about processing payments for our e-commerce arm, is significantly larger in terms of the number of payments that we process on a daily basis, right? And the scale of that is directly proportional to the overall business that we have in e-commerce. Whereas our businesses, which include our consumer finance businesses, to give you a size and scope of our consumer finance business, we crossed our 2 million cards on Flipkart Axis co-brand back in February. We doubled our pay later customer base to 6 million, and this was in a short span of 7 months. And this was an announcement that we made, I want to say back in May. With pay later loan we process, I would say in terms of pecking order, if you were looking for sort of size and scale of different units, I would definitely put payments at the helm of it, given that it actually supports the overall e-commerce platform and all the orders that are processed on it.
Okay, noted your points, Dheeraj. I think while payment was and is still a very integral part for most of the fintechs, many of them are operating in this space. Majority of them also shifted their focus to the digital lending, and they were very aggressive in terms of the pay later model, or we call it specifically the BNPL. But considering the recent deadlines, recent guidelines of the RBI specifically, which barred fintech companies from loading credit to PPIs, what kind of difference have you seen in the industry? Because for me, every second fintech was operating in this space, and they were very much bullish on the BNPL or a typical digital lending side. So, what are your readings specifically after the RBI's guidelines?
Yeah, so on the guideline itself, first and foremost, we were not operating in that manner where credit was being loaded into a PPI wallet or being was disbursed through any kind of a PPI wallet. So to that extent, it didn't really change anything on our pay later as a product. We continue to look at the guideline and understand it better. I think the industry as a whole is looking for greater clarity and trying to understand what the way forward is. On similar lines, we are also evaluating the guideline and assessing what is the best course of action for us as a team, while we were not working in that manner in any form. So I think as that clarity emerges from the regulator, I think we'll be better able to decipher and provide a better outlook rather on what are the right set of models and regulations with which BNPL will function in the future.
Okay, but for you, you said that you're not part of that ecosystem. So is your model different? Like you're absolutely allowing your customers to borrow from the banks where you have a partnership. Is something like that you're doing?
So if you look at it, there are essentially two types of models that had emerged. One was where the credit was being linked to PPI, right, which is the one where we saw the regulation come through. And the others where the credit is disbursed directly to the customer for purchases that they make on various platforms. This is where companies do direct tie-up with merchants, right? Ours was the latter, wherein we partner with IDFC and we facilitate the onboarding of the customer onto the on the pay later product. The product is originated and managed by IDFC, and they disburse the credit directly. So there is no linkage to any kind of a PPI construct in the process.
Okay. Noted your points, Dheeraj, and thanks for that clarity.
Sure.
I want you to tell us more about now your vertical in terms of you obviously have certain benefits because the e-commerce companies, I mean the large e-commerce companies part of you're part of that, so automatically you have some benefits. But how your segment or how your fintech vertical will shape up going ahead. What kind of metrics will you follow to become profitable and sustainable going ahead?
So, see, one of the advantages that we enjoy, obviously, as a fintech company, with by being part of a larger e-commerce system, is that we are able to acquire customers through the e-commerce vertical. Two, we are able to offer these products directly onto the platform and finance various purchases, whether it's mobiles, it's electronics, it's large appliances, or at the same time provide a very convenient way of checking out for groceries or fashion or books or any of the other lifestyle divisions that we have. So when we look at our success as a fintech company, we think about the fact that as a consumer, today we are already able to service a large part of the customer's wallet by them just being on the platform, all the way from their needs for a mobile phone, a fridge, a refrigerator, to buying a book or a grocery or buying a t-shirt. So our focus continues to be on driving greater adoption of our pay later product on the platform, making it relevant, making it very seamless, making it very affordable, and trying to understand that for all of these very transaction that a customer does on the platform, what kind of innovation that is that we can drive, whether it's by providing a 30-day checkout product, or a EMI product, or we have another product which we call Flipkart Smart Upgrade, where customers are able to pay a certain amount upfront and certain amount at a later stage in time. And most recently this month, for example, we launched something called split payments on a pay later product, wherein they can actually apportion part of their purchase on pay later and part by some other method. So our continuous focus is to ensure that we are able to deliver affordability at scale to our customers and make sure that the product is very convenient and seamless when they use it on the platform.
Okay, quite interesting. But there are a lot of there is a huge competition now in the space, Dheeraj, and sometimes it becomes very difficult for me because most of the times fintechs tell me that they're offering some innovative products. But let me tell you this: everybody says the same line, right? Everybody's far more innovative, and obviously there will be some plus and minus. So, how do you see the competition shaping up in the fintech industry? Because on a very small layer, already the consolidation has started happening, right? Already the big players are looking at small players, and already the people are eating each other's pie. And in the payment space also, it looks like already a crowded space, because a lot of basically the large two three players are have occupied the major pie specifically in the payment space. So how do you see the whole competition shaping up in the fintech space, and how are you going to craft a strategy to deal with all this competition or become more competitive than the others?
Sure, sure. So I think it's hard to talk about competition in a uniform way when we sort of talk about payments and fintechs, because they're fundamentally very different spaces, right? Payments, you obviously have UPI, and UPI has sort of grown really rapidly. UPI is processing almost 5 billion payments a month, over 100 billion in value. And I think the ecosystem has matured to a large degree in that space, right? We, however, don't participate in we participate in the UPI ecosystem more as a merchant than as a company that is acquiring customers on UPI. So in that sense, on the payment side, we don't necessarily see things as competitive. We actually work equally with all the players in the market to make sure that UPI becomes a big part of our overall payment processing, and that customers can easily use it at the time of checkout. When it comes to consumer finance, again, as I mentioned to you earlier, we have two different products within consumer finance. We have the Flipkart Access co-brand card, and I think there, the fintech ecosystem is still evolving with respect to issuing credit cards or various sort of large enterprises partnering with banks and network to issue co-brand cards. I think there the advantage of having ecosystem like Flipkart is great, because then consumers find direct one-to-one relevance with what the card provides as a value proposition. In our case, for example, our journeys are very sort of simple and seamless. The other thing is the value proposition itself. If you look at the Flipkart Access co-brand card, it's a 5% cashback on Myntra and Flipkart, and then 4% and less on a couple of other merchants. But this cashback is essentially not capped. So you can earn unlimited cashback by doing your purchases on Flipkart and Myntra. And to my earlier point, when a large part of your wallet can already be serviced, that's a tremendous value that we deliver to the customer. Coming to the point of our pay later product, I think there the ecosystem is still evolving. There are lots of companies. I think long-term success there will depend upon how you actually build the product around the customer behavior itself, and how you are able to onboard the customer in a very, very seamless way. And more importantly, are you able to educate and make the customer understand that this is a credit product, create that awareness among customers on how best to use the product. And I think that's where we all need to focus on as an industry to ensure that this method of paying or this method of credit finds greater adoption as an industry, and then we'll see greater success collectively. And long-term profitability, as more and more people adopt credit in a meaningful manner, in affordable manner, I think that should come through, provided your operating costs are also kept in shape. Um, Following that, I think our businesses around value-added services are more attached businesses to our core commerce business, and we see great adoption of products there. So not necessarily competitive in that sense that competitive scenarios are not directly relevant, simply because that's an offering on top of our existing set of offerings. And in general, I think BNPL as an industry is poised for growth, and I would generally support that, simply because of the adoption the product is finding, not just with our product but generally as an industry as a whole.
Okay, noted your points. I think I got some, bullet points for the fintechs as well. But let me be more specific, and I'm sure you must be watching your competitors very closely. You must be looking at the trends also very actively. So Dheeraj, if I ask you specifically, considering there is a huge focus on the Indian fintechs from the from other nations as well, and as the government is also being very supportive, and we have seen a great rally in this space. But considering uh, the companies which got listed and again they could not perform really well in the stock market, and which was kind of a big dream for a lot of fintechs going ahead. Dheeraj, what is your analysis? What do you think will make the Indian fintech successful or profitable or sustainable? Because payment side they are unable to make money, on the BNPL side we do not know what is going to happen, and on the other part partnerships, maybe they must be making some money by offering their services to banks, but do not know whether it will make them sustainable. So what is your analysis here?
Yeah, I mean, I think my analysis, I mean, if you look at the viability or the sustainability of fintech in general, I think largely depends upon how well we are able to. Again, I would just sort of reiterate my earlier point. I think we need to start shaping up the businesses in a manner where, our cost of acquisition, cost of operations are sort of more in line with what is tenable, and then continue to boost the top line, whether through products such as insurance or lending, to create that viability overall, and that will then start to enable other innovation and other services to get created. And if that's the direction that most fintechs take, don't necessarily see a challenge in viability in the long run, while we do see challenges in the short run. But a continuous focus on not just you know growing the top line, but also ensuring that we are keeping costs in control would be a critical lever to ensuring profitability.
Okay, got that, Dheeraj. So let me come back to you again from where we started and understand, your vertical more. What is going to be your target and focus areas going ahead now? And, in terms of, because ultimately you have to be also very sustainable, right? You should have a long sustainable model. So what is going to be your focus areas going ahead, Dheeraj?
I think couple of things. I think we'll continue to focus on affordability as a charter. We want to ensure that we can innovate around affordability, whether it's constructs, whether it's delivery, whether it's pricing, whether it's value that we deliver, for example, on our Flipkart Access co-brand card. And that too in the context of our own platform. Can't think of somebody who's buying a mobile phone in the same manner as somebody that's trying to buy for groceries. Their needs are very, very different, and hence fintech in this context has to look at them differently and design products differently. If you take the example of EMI as a construct, it's been long talked about that EMI was originally designed as a product construct or more around the salaried segment, customers who received salary on a certain day and hence were able to pay EMI on the following day. But when we look at where the platform is, when you look at customers from tier 2 towns, tier 3 towns, or deep geography, then we have to start thinking of the same products differently and allow for more flexible constructs to come through. So I think that's going to be the big focus area. Payment processing is absolutely the other big focus area. Given that we're responsible for providing a robust and scalable platform, we'll continue to invest and innovate and partner with the larger banking and BFC and sort of payments ecosystem to ensure that we are taking the lead both with respect to providing payment choice and innovation. And the third area I would say is a focal area that we'll continue to invest in is on the seller side through our growth capital program, wherein we provide working capital financing to sellers on the platform.
Meaningful thoughts here, Dheeraj. But I would like you to tell us more in terms of the benefit that you have being a part of the Flipkart, because there are debates. Always there are few fintech says that the cost of acquiring new customers digitally is huge compared to traditional, but few find it very reasonable as well. Perhaps it would be reasonable for you because most of the customers are there on the Flipkart platform, and you must be getting them by your own systems. So one, how are you looking at the customer acquisition going ahead? What is going to be your strategy in terms of raising and reaching out to more number of customers? And also, if you could tell us more about what are the big benefits that you have of being a part of Flipkart.
Yeah, see, like I said, by virtue of being part of a commerce company, or being part of the commerce funnel, our ability to there are two different things that we benefit from. One is that obviously the commerce funnel is attracting customers on a regular basis. So our ability to acquire customers through that in a low cost manner is better than what I would say generally for other fintechs. And that's an advantage that we enjoy. And then because we are designing products in and around what the customers see, customers use credit or payments to reach a certain goal in their life. There is an end goal to this. Knowing that context and having an understanding of that context also allows you to then design either a journey or a proposition in a more meaningful way, in a more relevant way, because you're able to look at the entire context of the customer, right? And I think that is where we think we can deliver a much better value than let's say some of the other folks who may be operating in the open market, who may have access to merchants or are looking to have access to merchants such as us.
Okay. Last point, considering a lot of fintechs are thinking about many I mean, they have a lot of different views in terms of the growth or achieving new skies. One, listing is on the radar of a lot of fintechs. In fact, that is the goal which many of them have. After specifically Paytm and Policybazaar, they're going little slow, but they have that on the radar. That is one side. Second thing is most of the fintechs also wants to go for either account aggregator license or some other license from the RBI or the large growers to at least become an NBFC, right? What is going to be your goal, Dheeraj? If not now, maybe 3 to 5 years down the line, what is it that one objective that you are looking at?
Sure. I would sort of break down our objectives in two parts, and ours is slightly simpler in that sense. I wouldn't talk about sort of IPO. I think it's too early to talk about any of those things. We are in early stages of developing what we're developing, and we are finding good success and adoption on the platform. So for one, I think part one of what our objective, like I said, is design products that enable the platform. Right? Because when you design products in and around the platform for the customers on the platform, then you're fundamentally at the heart of it designing a fintech company that's building products for Bharat, as I would say, right? So how much can we, support on that? The second part is that in doing so, can we do it to your earlier point? Are we building the right sustainable business model in and around what we do? So our focus area tends to be just around largely these two things. And that really drives a lot of our strategic roadmaps and product choice, keeping in mind these two objectives.
Sure, Dheeraj, I think noted your points, and that's it from my side. So I will stop here and maybe just thanks the audience. So thank you so much, Dheeraj, and thanks. So that's the wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Click on the FinTech Diary tab to view our previous episodes as well. If you like it, please don't forget to share it on social media. Also, please ensure you have subscribed to our daily newsletter, which is absolutely for free. And thank you so much for watching FinTech Diary on the ETBFSI.com. And thank you so much, Dheeraj, for sharing your remarkable views here. Thank you so much.